I have nothing to hide. Just like the article said, I have nothing to hide. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I just looked around to see if Colleen was here.
No.
And she's not here tonight, okay. Do we have the surplus going down the road to maintain the cost of the fire if we absorb this? That's the question. We may have it this year, but do you think with our revenues being down, if we go through a drought summer again, do we have it? I think everyone has to ask themselves that.
Thanks, Evelyn. Would anyone else like to speak? Go up to the microphone, please.
Jim, before you speak, can I say something?
Sure.
I would very much like to hear from one of the younger guys from the company. I see a number of them here, and if any of them...
Tucker Brendel, 710 Pitney Drive.
Chris Williams, 609 Lake.
I just want to say Casey was referred to why he's not here right now. He is at a serious accident. That's the type of leaders you have in this company. To clean house is absolutely ridiculous. If you get a thunderstorm tomorrow, you'll have 15 guys who will go down and wait around for a call from the residents of this town. I wouldn't screw with that.
Thank you.
Like I said before, Chris Williams, 609 Lake Avenue. I joined the company as soon as I turned 18, about 2 days after I turned 18 when I was allowed to join. A few years after that, in the course of the time, I learned everything I need to know about the fire company. Time came up, I was asked to actually be on the district. I was on the district for, I think 5 years. I had to give it up due to school. I learned a lot from Mr. Gretz during my time as a commissioner. I learned how to purchase equipment for maintenance, procuration, and everything else, how to deal with the district and the company as two separate entities. Things that I learned from Walter over the years and the rest of the members of the department that are here tonight is far beyond anything I've ever seen. They're more of a family, and they're more of a family than I could ever imagine. Like I said, for my $150 a year, like I said, even though I'm almost paying for my own services, it's the best $150 I'd ever spent. Like last week, Mr. Rockhill said he'd gladly double it. I'd more double it, triple it. You know, if I had the means of my own, I would fully fund the fire district if I could. Everything they ever wanted. Because we have a district here, and if something happens to my house, I'm with the biggest, the best, and everything that could possibly come to help put out that fire in my house. And I don't think anybody in this room would say that they do not want the best to come, help them at any time. If the district goes down, I have a huge feeling that if something happens to one of the apparatus we have now, it may go out of service. It may take a long time to get fixed. In the event that we have to replace an apparatus, we may not get the best. We may not get the biggest. At that point, I don't want that piece coming to my house if I know in my heart as a member that it's not the biggest and the best that can come do the job to put out the fire in my house. Thank you.
Thank you.
Carl Keller, 558 Mercer Avenue. I've lived in town my entire life, and our fire company are some of the finest men and women that I know. And it's multi-generational. You don't see that anymore. And as far as the money, we vote on that. As townspeople, we vote on that. We make a choice whether to support the budget or not. I have received the fire company services of the fire at my house. They're volunteers. They get up at all hours to go out and make sure we're safe. At times, we don't even know about it. And I am so grateful we have them. So I pray that we do not disband the fire district.
Thank you.
My name is David Kale. I live on Bradford Run in Wall Township. I joined in May. Just want to reiterate they go out in thunderstorms, snowstorms, dig out cars. These are things that not all fire departments do. They're saving your town money. When power goes out, you'll see them on 71 directing traffic. During special events, they're directing traffic. These are things Wall Township is paying people overtime to do. You're paying 40 cents a day on average. Even if you save 25%, you're going to save 10 cents a day. In other towns, people who have councils who have control of the funds, to reiterate Bradley, they're not the only ones. I'm not going to name towns, but there's many that I probably could name. They have very old equipment, gear that's not adequate, very poor membership, and you're risking demoralizing the membership of your fire company. They might not have the manpower to direct all the traffic. When there's a car accident and somebody gets hurt, we get tapped out immediately. We're there not only to help the car accident, but to help with traffic control and other things that 2 cops on in a town can't handle by themselves. Wall Township has approximately 70 cops, and I guarantee at any one time there's at least a half a dozen. So, consider if we can't support them because we don't have manpower, we don't have equipment, and morale drops, you may have to pay overtime for cops to take the jobs that we've been doing for the past several years. So, thanks.
Thank you very much.
Judy Fury, Brighton Lane, Spring Lake Heights. I'd like to say that for the $150 a year that we pay for our fire district, for our taxes, I think we're getting a great value. I don't think you can do any better on the council to give us better value, and I think the fire district does a better job of distributing the funds and knowing what to spend them on. They at least have an idea of what's going on with the equipment, they know what's needed, they know what the job is. The council does not have that knowledge, unfortunately, and it's not a job the council should have to do. It's something that the fire district should be doing. So I definitely urge you to keep the fire district. We need it.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak?
I wasn't going to, but I decided I'm going to.
Take your time. Take your time. No rush.
Howard Rockhill, 2413 Hamilton Avenue. I said what I wanted to say last week, but something that should be brought up. The equipment that you see down there at that building is reflected on your homeowner's insurance. You do away the insurance, the equipment, your fire insurance. The amount of equipment is what they look at. They look at how far the hydrant is from you, how far the firehouse is, but they also look at the equipment. You let that equipment fall off, the guy from Bradley Beach made a good point. I don't know what their insurance rate is over there based on what they have, but ours is pretty good. I think that what we pay in our homeowners insurance based on fire protection is based on that equipment. We've kept it up over the years. I can remember we didn't have that much equipment, but you didn't have the type of houses that you have now. You had golf courses instead of Fairway Mews. That adds a lot to your town, a lot to your revenue, but a lot to our responsibility. All the houses, this used to be chicken coops and stuff down here. It's not chicken coops on Claridge Drive anymore. You got houses. Every house means revenue to you, but it means responsibility to us to protect them. Every resident in here expects us to come and give them top service when that whistle goes off. Whether it's now, 2 o'clock in the morning, or whatever. Like I said last week, as a taxpayer, that $149 is the very best money I spend all year. I could blow it on newspapers. I don't smoke, but you could blow it on cigarettes in less than a month. So don't begrudge that $149. I think the residents get a top dollar for what they're paying, and it shouldn't be done away with.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Frank Trufo, 506 7th Avenue. I'm actually a fire commissioner in the town, elected. I don't know if, you know, I see a few faces, but I just want to mention, I get elected in every 3 years, or certainly the 8 years I've been living down here. Not once have I seen really the members bicker about our integrity of what we have to do to the town. I don't get LoSAP. I get a $1,400 or a $1,200 a year stipend. I'm the deputy fire chief in Spring Lake. I'm very aware of how we operate in Spring Lake, and I am very aware, obviously, over the last 4 or 5 years of having the experience of working under Walter Gretz, so I really don't know if I still know or not, as far as being tuned into how to deal with the fire district. As a resident, I have a concern. I know the logistical housekeeping it takes to order a battery, order a tire, if they're in the middle of something and God forbid someone gets hurt, process the insurance claims. I don't really know if that is really relating to your budget line questions and analysis. I also want to mention that regarding the reserve of the LoSAP, we're all very eager to give that back. We really did not know, we were certainly not aware of what the impact was, and we welcome that. We obviously welcome that. But I think it's important for you to realize tonight that I don't think tonight should be the night that you determine this as a homeowner. As a commissioner, I can resign if right now it doesn't matter to me, because quite frankly, I do this as a service, not for any benefit. I do not belong to Spring Lake Heights Fire Company at all. I'm an outsider living in this town as a commissioner. But I will tell you that there is a quantifiable amount of processing that needs to go on, and I don't know how well you're prepared to take the responsibility on some of the things that some of the folks have been speaking about. In tune, exactly the maintenance of the trucks, the pumps, and just basic line item ordering of things. Our budget is pretty intense. We do have reserves required to meet DCA type guidelines, and we do that because that's what we were voted to do. And there's not a single soul in the commissioner's office that I've experienced that has any gain other than to take care of the town and to make sure that the integrity of our guys is met as far as life and safety. I have not seen, probably since the budget that we had maybe 2 years ago, one member of the council come sit to one of our meetings. Nor have I seen one of the two gentlemen, Mr. Miller or Mr. Lewis, at one of our meetings. These are folks who have fire experience. Don't let the fire commissioner ballot go unchallenged. They got 200-something votes to do the petition. You only need 15 to be a commissioner. And every 2 weeks, you can do like I do, leave my house to sit down and make sure we follow process. So all I'm saying is, I understand your responsibility to the taxpayer, to me, and I appreciate that. But all I'm saying is, please understand your underlying responsibility as taking this responsibility over, because I think that you really need to spend some time with understanding the actual process of how we process paperwork and make sure that life safety is met as far as our NFPA guidelines. So I welcome you, I thank you for your diligence on this, but I think that you really need to think about spending some work session time to understand it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Huey Mahan, I'm a commissioner, a proud commissioner in Spring Lake Heights, and this isn't personal, but I just want to steal the back of Mr. Miller's shirt. The shirt says, sleep well, I'm going to change some of the words. Sleep well, Spring Lake Heights. The fire company has your back, and I'm very proud of that.
I'm sorry, I don't think he got that.
Deborah McKean, 619 Monmouth Avenue. I think everybody here tonight appreciates the fire department, the firemen. I don't think there's anybody in this room that doesn't. My dad was a 50-year volunteer in Morristown. All my uncles, 7, 8 of them, all volunteers. I guess I'm really here to learn tonight, and I was at the last meeting too, and I left a little baffled as to why the finances couldn't be explained better, and that concerned me as a taxpayer here. Could somebody explain, in fact, I think it was one of the commissioners, Frank Schufo. Frank, perhaps you could explain to me, because I really want to understand. Is Spring Lake not a district? Is Seagirt not a district? What is the benefit to us as taxpayers to run as a district? And why aren't Spring Lake and Seagirt being run as districts? If somebody could answer that question for me, I appreciate it.
The benefit is, ma'am, that you, as a taxpayer, get to go in February and decide what is your fire district, is your taxes being spent on, just like the school board. Spring Lake, they don't have that. Spring Lake, they have to beg, borrow, and plead to get equipment. Equipment is the key to putting a fire out. As we said last week, when we first formed the district, it was because the fire company could no longer support itself when a fire truck at the time cost maybe $110,000 for a pumper and about $190,000 for a ladder. Nowadays, an average pumper runs about $500,000. A ladder, Spring Lake just bought one for $1.3 million. The object of the fire district is to support the fire company with equipment. Our trucks, when they put them in, last 30 years. Most of the trucks in both Spring Lake and Seagirt are on commercial chassis. If they last 25 years, 20 years, that's a lot. It's just a fairer way for everybody in town to pay for fire protection. And that's what we're here for. Because your house is set up with fire underwriters. And that's how the fire district works. It raises taxation to support the fire company.
Thanks, Jim. Would anyone else like to speak?
John Lewis, 574 Prospect Avenue. As I sat here with my eyes glazed over as you went over the numbers before, John, let me go over them again maybe with you. $157,000 in maintenance. When asked a few weeks ago, Mr. Gretz couldn't give any further breakdown of the budget, $157,000. Fire company every year gets $87,000, $65,000 for fire service agreement. Last week they told us $22,000 they take in soliciting money. $87,000 a year, $157,000 a year. That's $244,000. A few mentions were made of the $43,000 and the last payment on the 2001 fire truck. Last week I mentioned, and I don't know if anybody grasped it or not, there was $45,000 taken in 2001 for that truck, which is the last payment. So the $43,000 in the budget this year shouldn't be there. And here's the problem we have. The constant questions that were asked over the last few weeks, and frankly 2 years ago when it failed, get no answers. Do you today have the bills that were asked 4 weeks ago? How do they spend this kind of money?
Yeah, we do, John. We do.
John.
This is what it took to get the bills, because a simple question, I have been down to the fire. I have asked questions and get nothing. from them. This is what it took. Now, 87,157. John, you mentioned 263,000 before that they have in a money market or something.
Well, no, the actual numbers of the 78,000 capital.
And the 45,000 that shouldn't have been in the budget.
That's in there though, but there's 263 in the money market account. There's, and then there's 20,000.
Oh, okay.
And then there's 124
I
in the
just
mutual
asked
fund.
for the 263. When I add all that up, it's $552,000 that is a gray area. Nobody exactly knows where that money went, what it was spent on. When you talk about, in the few weeks that people come in, they want to shift the conversation away from Mr. Gretz and 5 fire commissioners, and everybody brings up the fire company. The fire company is going nowhere. Only the funding, when you need to fund something, you'll come in and you'll ask these people who run the rest of the town. That's all that's going to happen. And if they don't want to give it to you because they don't agree with the bill or they can get it cheaper, that's what's going to happen. But because 5 fire commissioners are dissolved, that doesn't end the way the fire department operates. It operates in the same fashion. You will be funding it after you see the bills. I don't believe you'll be writing a $157,000 check without seeing a bill. And you won't have to go through this dog and pony show to get them on your desk after years of asking for them. So nobody is asking you to take Mr. Gretz out in the parking lot and shoot him. He can still operate with the fire department. All you have to do is decide that you want to protect the people of this town and their tax dollars. And I'm asking you to do that and have been asking you to do it for a while.
Thank you, John. Mr. Chupo.
Thank you, Mayor. Frank Chufo, 506. Just 7th Avenue. I just want to mention that every single document, every single minute of the minutes, every single tape of our meetings, every single line item of the budget, every single purchase order, bid, signed voucher is all a matter of public record. The people who are asking for years never came to the meeting to ask for it. We don't post it. We don't put it into the rest stops on the Parkway. There is a process that DCA mandates, and we unfortunately have to have representation at the firehouse once a week for an hour in case someone is diligent enough to come in and ask for the records. You get the minutes, you get the budgets, we have the audits, we have the paperwork, just come on in.
Thank you.
I just have to respond to that.
Name and
Ray Miller, Monmouth Avenue, Spring Lake Heights. I was there for 9 years and I did ask the questions and I got BS'd every time I asked them. 99% of the time I got lied to and bulldozed. That's what it's all about. All of a sudden, we have a stack of stuff. We've been asking for that for years, and we've gotten stonewalled. The fire company, nobody has anything against the fire company. We don't want to hurt the fire company. We want answers, and they don't think we have a right as taxpayers to either ask the questions or get an answer. That's why we're here. No other reason. If they gave us the answers, this would have never happened. Never. And I challenge you, as a fire commissioner, to start asking questions, and you'll see how many knives go in your back.
Thank you, Ray. Would anyone else like to?
Let me point one thing here. Here's an article, Spring Lake Heights Fire Commissioners settled complaint from a government watchdog. This fellow had to go through asking a question, didn't get the answers, had to file an open public meetings request, and because he didn't get it in a timely manner, the board took 5 months before he had to get a lawyer, I guess, and get the answer. The public shouldn't have to go through this, and I'm asking you, stop it. I mean, geez, we come here at budget meetings, and basically maybe we don't like what we hear, but at least we get to hear it. And how many meetings does the public have to go? How many February elections Do people have to remember? I've been asking for 10 years to put it on the town calendar, still not there. On the back, on December. The election is in February. Okay.
Thank you,
thanks.
John.
Patty Perry, 618 Shore Road. My concern is the fallout, how the decision's made and the fallout. To lose generations of experience far outweighs 52,000 or 200,000. To me, it would make more sense to be up here discussing performance or lack of that, and we're not. We're talking about, in the big scheme, not a lot of money. I happen to value my home. There's more of a value in our homes, I think, than what we're discussing here. It seems it's fragmented for me. I just heard these two gentlemen, which I guess appears they're the initiators of this, and they said we wouldn't even be here if it wasn't they had more accountability to look at numbers. That's a really poor reason to even be here. I mean, I'm sure there's options, and I'm sure the numbers can be, there's a process that those numbers can be shared. But let's also look at the integrity of what these firemen and safety people do. And I've been in town 26 years. That matters to me. And to have that impact and not know we're going to lose men with lots of history and experience over numbers that can be fixed or we can address them. That's more the concern of mine, I think, and a lot of people that have lived here and a lot of the new mindsets that are coming to our community. This just seems so out of whack to me. And this is my first meeting that I came to, and I've kind of kept up with it, but it doesn't take somebody really, you don't have to be that smart, you just have to be living from your heart to understand that this is a lot of time for nothing. We're not discussing performance, that I could handle. We're discussing just people not getting what they want when they want it. Well, maybe it's the way you're asking. Maybe we just have to be kinder and respect the department and who's involved with it. But to dissolve something over because someone didn't get information or they didn't get it quick enough or they didn't get it how they wanted it, I mean, really, let's reevaluate what's going on here. I don't want to jeopardize my home or the fact or anyone else's or the accidents over, I mean, I don't know. I'm just really, so taken back by this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McGill.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Madam Mayor, I would like to make two comments. One with reference to Mr. Lewis claiming he doesn't get information. To my recollection, Mr. Lewis has been to 2 board meetings since 2003 or 2002. He does not attend the board meetings. If he attended board meetings, he would ask questions. He could ask questions. He would get answers. The budget is available. The audits are available. He doesn't attend the meetings, and of course, they're delivered to Borough Hall. Maybe he doesn't attend the meetings because he's not sure he would get the answer he would be looking for. I'm not sure, but he doesn't come. Mr. Miller was on the board for a number of years. I don't believe he was lied to as a commissioner. He voted on matters that were presented, and most times voted in favor of whatever was being presented. He may have spoken at board meetings contrary to some aspect of whatever was being presented at the time, but ultimately he voted. He was a commissioner, he exercised. Now he says he was lied to for 9 years. Well, if I was a public elected official and I was lied to in the very beginning, it seemed to me I would very shortly not be that public official anymore, and I'd be taking some action about that. But he ran for election several times, and he was elected by the voters of Spring Lake Heights at the February election. Now, there's also some concern about the February election, but that's set by the statute. The legislature has to fix that. If they want to have it fixed, It's not, the board can't hold an election other than when the statute says they can hold it. We can't make the town put on some notice they send out to people the date of the fire election. If the municipal government wanted to do that, that would be fine, as one of the speakers just said. But we don't have any control over that. It's advertised widely as it has to be. Again, the legislature sets the tone of what has to be advertised because they passed the statutes. If we don't like the statutes, maybe change them. The same thing with this equipment we're talking about. We have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on equipment because some government, either the United States government or the New Jersey state government, have given to administrative authorities the right and the obligation to pass regulations that have the force of law. Well, if the local governing bodies don't like some of those, by all means, try and get them changed. But we have to deal with the framework that we now have. We can't go and hand deliver all of our material to individual taxpayers, but they're welcome to come to the meetings. So we have 2 meetings a month, a regular business style meeting and a work session. And at times, 2 of the commissioners will act as a subcommittee to meet with people about things that come up. There are some citizens from time to time that ask a question that 2 of the committees, we can't have any more than 2 of them, or then we're in violation of something else. Open Public Meetings Act. So we could meet with members, as I suggested in the beginning, of the mayor and council, but of course it couldn't be any more than the Open Public Meetings Act would permit. But everything we do, starting when the board was first formed in 1988, but didn't have a budget to operate with because in 1989, because the election was too late, there was a determination made to file everything that goes on, minutes, budgets, audits, and everything in Borough Hall. Everything keys off of Borough Hall. Notices when things are going to happen. They have to be in the newspaper. Sometimes they have to be in 10 places around town. And it's always Borough Hall. Place number 1. Delivered to be posted on the borough. We don't come in and nail something to the borough bulletin board. We present it to the borough clerk, or in prior years, borough administrator, for posting. We presume they're posted. The board has tried to do everything within the law, statutory and administrative code regulations, and some of these other regulations that come along. As for example, there was something where you say, what are the? We all talked here about the first check. It's supposed to be April 1st. Board hasn't received the check yet. It's now May 2. It hasn't received the check because 3 years ago, DCA, Local Government Services, decided to enact a regulation that said, well, we're going to send a certification back to the town that says that the budget was passed. The statute says the Board of Fire Commissioners is supposed to send to the town the requisite notice that the budget was passed, and then the money is supposed to be distributed in 4 payments. DCA decided, not by administrative code, but by their own regulation, that until they send the notice, the checks aren't to be sent out. Spring Lake Heights, I guess, is complying with that. Now, the notices didn't go to the mailroom down at the state until the day before Good Friday, because I spoke to Shakir Evans, the girl down there that's supposed to handle it. She said she got them off of her desk and sent it to the state mailroom the day before Good Friday. Spring Lake Heights got it yet from DCA? No, sir. There you go. And I have no reason to believe that she's not telling the truth. They left her desk to go to the state mailroom the day before Good Friday. Now, whether those notices are still in the state mailroom, or they're sitting in the post office in Trenton, or they're sitting on racks with the big trays waiting to go out in the state Or they're held up someplace in the Spring Lake Post Office. We don't know. But we're operating a little bit on some of that surplus that you were talking about, because the board didn't get a check for 21.92% or something like that. Didn't come in. You don't know what's going to happen until it happens. But everything is open, everything is posted, meetings are available, commissioners are available. They live in town. Talk to them. As one of the speakers said, maybe you won't like the answer, but it's not that you won't get an answer. You have to ask the question. Thank you.
Thank you.